Hi, my name is Sabine Kvenberg, also known as the Storytelling Dame from Germany. And this is Saturday Live Gumption the Journey. And every Saturday, I go live here either by myself or with a guest. And we discuss what Gumption means to you. And we discuss the journey of this book and also how you can become a bestseller. And you will be a witness of it because this book will be officially released in August, available in the bookstores. Although, if you're watching this, you have the possibility to get an advanced reader's copy from me. So just let me know. And also, people that are part of this book, that are part of the journey, and giving their insights that perhaps can help you. But also, we discuss some of the topics that are relevant to, to everyone in life, that are relevant to moms, dads, kids, youth, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and everything in between. Because those topics that I discuss in my books and the frameworks that I share, that I gathered throughout my life, the life experience, the business experiences, forming several businesses along the way, writing several books, and what I've learned and what it takes to move sometimes through difficult times. Now, today, I want to discuss what leadership means. What does it mean to be a leader? A leader is more than like a boss or being bossy or being in control. True leadership means you show up for people, you guide people, you help people through a situation. You just say, do this, do this, do this. You know, that's not what a leader does. Now, of course, sometimes we have to gently guide someone to do a certain task, but the way how you do it is also considered leadership. The right techniques and how you bring someone to do the things that are necessary. Because, quite frankly, sometimes uncomfortable things are necessary for someone to grow. And that is also what a leader is about. But the way you do it is different. And I discussed that in my book, and I would like to read a section from it because the first time that I took leadership position, I was about 12, 13 years old, and I didn't know it at that time, but I just did it. And that's a chapter in my book called Getting Lost. And so let me get this. It's chapter 2. It was a very special day at summer camp, dance night. An all-girls camp meeting up with a boys' camp for an evening of dancing and mingling sounded like the highlight of the week. The camp director announced, "Girls, tonight we have the opportunity to participate in a dance in a nearby village. Each room will meet at the same place we met earlier, where we began our hikes. And then we all go together to that dance." I was excited. I loved to dance. Back in our room, the 12 of us were giggling and chatting as we got ready. "So what do you think about this outfit?" Tina shouted. Well, our answers was a resounding yes. One by one, we pulled on our best outfits for dance night. The energy was buzzing between us. When it was time to leave, we walked easily up the winding path And after about 30 minutes, we reached the clearing where we had played earlier that day. Our group was the first to arrive. The sun was shrinking low, painting the sky in a gold and pink, and we sat in a circle watching for or waiting for the others. One girl had the brilliant idea to tell ghost stories. We laughed at first, but as dusk deepened and no other groups appeared, a quiet unease began to spread. One girl shouted, "I know what's happening. They're trying to scare us. Any second now, they'll jump out of the bushes." We all held our breath, waiting. But no one came. Instead, the forest grew darker and darker until we weren't where we were supposed to be. We were lost. Lost in the woods. A quiet weeping from Susie, one of the girls in my group, broke the silence. And soon others joined her. "Someone will come and get us," Gabi said hopefully. Rebecca shut back. "No one is coming. They don't even know we are here." In an instant, the mood shifted from cheerful excitement to fear and despair. I don't know what came over me, but I knew I had to guide the girls out of the woods. At almost 13, I was one of the oldest, and it felt it was my duty. At almost 13, I'd always had a good sense of direction, and I believed I could find a shortcut that would lead us back to the path toward our camp. I was scared too, but somehow the strength rose up in me. My higher power took charge, and I followed. "Okay, girls, this is how we do it," I said, trying to sound confident. "I know the way back, but you must trust me." Everyone nodded. I gave each girl a number and explained. "We'll hold hands, and every few minutes you'll call out your number, lowest to highest, so we know no one is missing, okay?" They all agreed. We didn't take the winding path back on which we arrived because it would take too long, and we wanted to meet our group to go to the dance. In the distance, I noticed a faint light that must have been the camp complex. If we cut straight through the woods, I knew we could find the beginning of the path sooner and get back faster. I led the way through the tree line, spider webs brushing across my face as we moved down the hill through the pine trees and thick underbrush. Every so often I stopped and asked, "Everything okay? I want to hear your numbers." "1," I called out. Voices followed. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then silence. What happened to 6? My heart pounded. Had I lost someone? "She's here," number 7 shouted. "I've got her hand." Relief washed over me as the count continued. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're all still together. At last, we made it to the path. Only minutes later, the lights of the camp flickered in the distance. We were almost home. We were greeted with a collective sigh of relief when we finally reached the camp. The supervisor quickly notified the principal that the lost group had returned. I can only imagine what it must have been what must have been happening behind the scenes. Had they prepared a search team? Did they wonder if we had run away? Years later, when I had led groups of my own through my performing arts school, I realized how terrifying it must have been for the adults at the camp. The thought of losing even one child still brings me anxiety. Even just the thought of it. But at the time, none of us were concerned about that. We were only disappointed that we'd missed the dance. Of course, we explained how we had ended up at the wrong meeting place and assured them it was just a silly misunderstanding. Since it was too late to attend the dance, the supervisor treated us to a special treat instead. Girls, let's sit down in the common area and we have some white bread with banana and peanut butter. That was a treat at that time. How does that sound? She asked. To us, it sounded like music to our ears. We were starving. We may have missed the dance that night, but we gained an experience we would always remember. One that taught us we could make it through anything, even in the midst of fear. You see, when fear becomes a teacher, we all get lost once in a while, maybe not geographically, but on our journey of life in general. In those moments, fear creeps in. It's a basic survival mechanism in our human experience. We can better cope and adjust when we understand why and how our body reacts in situations and why we do what we do. When fear appears, our body's hormones get activated. The fight, flight, and hide response kicks in, an essential part of survival. If a big tiger runs our way, well, you better run away, right? However, that same fear mechanism activates when an unknown event ahead of us screams, scary. You may have to get in front of an audience and speak. That can be frightening because you're afraid you may forget your words, people will laugh at you, or you will be judged. You may want to start your own business, but don't know all the steps. That is the fear of the unknown. Leaders are made not in the comfort of their home or current state. Leaders rise despite fear. They step up and do what's necessary in the midst of fear. They override their subconscious fear system, which with their conscious inner guidance system. You may call it intuition or higher self. Looking back, being lost in the woods taught me something I carry to this day. Leadership is born in the midst of fear. I had to step up and help. I knew I could do it despite all the fear I felt in that moment. I didn't fully understand what happened then, but in retrospect, it groomed me to become the leader I was meant to be. We all have leadership inside of us. I encourage you to explore it. The next time a scary situation arrives, be brave and take action. It may be messy at first, but you'll be able to say, I did it. Just like strengthening your physical muscles, you also strengthen your emotional muscle. With each choice to act despite fear, you build resilience and gain the strength to become your next greater self. You were born to do great things in life. It looks different for everyone. So don't compare yourself to anyone else. You are you, and it's time to stand tall, recognize and activate the greatness within you. Fear may test you, but leadership is choosing to act anyway. The great John F. Kennedy said once, leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. Great quote. After that experience, something shifted in me. I knew I could help others when they felt lost. Maybe not lost in the woods, but lost on the path of life. Even as a teenager in school, people often came to me for advice. I didn't realize it then, but on reflection, I see how every moment was shaping me into the person I was meant to become. We must become the person we are meant to be, to live the life we are destined to live. That was chapter 2 in my book. And each chapter, I share a story that was instrumental in my life and that shaped me in a form, but it also taught me a lesson and what I could draw from it. And I hope that this book will help others in one way or another. So if you are interested to read the book before August, when it's available at the bookstore, just put book in the comment or send me an email at sabine@sabinekvenberg.com or send me a message on one of my social media channels. And I will let you know how you are able to become or how to get an advanced reader's copy. It is an exciting process to write that book. And I did that all of last year. And this Saturday Live, I want to have as an opportunity for you to ask questions. And I am doing this here on this YouTube channel for right now. And I love for you to also put in your comments. And let me see if I have any. Good morning. Yes, it's working. I'm recording this here on my platform, which is called Riverside, where I record all my upcoming episodes for my Become podcast and many other things. So I'm also able to go live, and I wanted to see if I have some people here. And if you're here, just say hello. You don't have to say anything, but you can also ask questions. And when you ask a question while I'm live, I'm answering it live, okay, to my best ability. And if you want to become part of this journey, what I call GUMPTION, the journey, I am recording this, and part of this will be part of my documentary that I put together. And the documentary is all about the journey of writing this memoir. It's all about how to tackle the writing process. I will also interview my editor, who did a phenomenal job. I want to shout out her name, Chrissy. She did something, I think it's super important, building that rapport that you have with your author. So she was the one who got me. And without taking anything away from my storytelling and my writing, an editor is there to make it even better. An editor is there to have that bird's eye view, to get things together, to understand what I wanted to say, but make it so that, oh, if you put it this way or that way, it makes it even easier to understand, or it makes more sense, right? Because sometimes when we are working on a project, it is so close. And if she did a phenomenal job, and I will get her on to this podcast or onto this Saturday Live to share her insight, and of course also her insight of what she is doing and how she is helping someone become a published author. So I'm excited about that. And by the way, she will come on here. She already promised it. It's just a matter of what is the best time that she is available, because I always am respectful to each one's time. And I have so many people that gave me praise and also wrote the forward. And I would like to get everyone here to have the opportunity also to share their journey. Because at the end, when we have people that we can connect with and give them an outlet, it's wonderful. We hear more when we hear other persons say something about a project, for example. So if you want to be part of it, even if you're not in the book, but you have read the book and you want to talk about one specific topic, maybe it was about leadership. Maybe you want to talk about a topic that is dear to your heart, because there's so many topics that are important to our growth, and you want to discuss that, just let me know. And I just want to say, I will also get my wonderful husband on the air one time, and he will be here with me, because of course there are also chapters in the story where he is the main character, right? And I would like to get his side of the story too, right? It's always nice to see. And yeah, that's what it looks like in the near future. So if you want to be live here, even if you watch this as a replay, my mission is to be here live every Saturday. And for the time being, it's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The only time where I will not be here, or maybe it will be earlier or later, is if I'm traveling or if I'm speaking somewhere. And that happens to be the same time. I will let you know in advance, but I will make sure to either pre-record something and then upload it, or I will do it at a different time. Just time will tell. And if you have not watched the last episode, I had the wonderful Anne Zuckerman on board, and she was the one, and she was here with me live. She was the one who was very instrumental for me to even start writing this book. I mean, in the back of my mind, I always thought of, yeah, one day, I will write my memoirs so I can share the wisdom that I have and pass it on to a new generation so it can live on even if I'm gone, right? And that is very powerful. It's you can leave a legacy in many different ways. You can leave a legacy through your children, through music that you write. You leave a legacy just by being who you are in many different ways. But the most important part is that you find something that you can leave a legacy with. And of course, putting something in writing that lives on is a great way to do it. I have written songs, and you can find the songs everywhere on YouTube. And I'm not one of the big artists, but it lives there. And if you put in my name, Sabine Kvenberg, or just Sabine, and one of the songs I wrote, I invite you to be free, and or reach for the stars. And I wrote this for a specific event. I wrote my songs for a reason, but they are there now. They live in the wherever they live in the universe, right? On the different platforms on the World Wide Web. Now, this is there forever, even when I'm gone. And same thing with book. And maybe you find something in particular. It can be a podcast, a YouTube channel, anything that you share your wisdom. I encourage you to do that because you are unique. You have your own wisdom that you share. So, my friend, that's why I wrote this book. And Anne was someone who gave me that kick in behind because not like, do it now. No, she said simply, well, you need to write the book. And even after I answered her saying, I already wrote 3 books. And she said, no, 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 you don't understand. You need to write your stories, the wisdom that you shared in my podcast, because she interviewed me. I was just like so taken by it. And that made me think, oh, wow, just an what's the word that I'm looking for? Yeah, I think not evaluation. See, sometimes I still looking for those words, even though I'm living in the United States now for 30 years. But it's okay too to make mistakes or forget something. But she basically, what I wanted to say is, gave me that that it's okay. Yes, you are good enough. Yes, you have something to share. That's what I meant. And if you know what word I'm searching for, looking for, put it in the comment, even if you see it in the replay. It would be so funny. I think you know what I'm talking about. Oh, by the way, that is another story that I share in my book about, and I'm going to hold on off to share this with you because there is a chapter in my book called Tape Time versus FaceTime. Because, oh, thank you so much. Encourage. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Someone, actually, let me say, this is my wonderful, lovely husband. I asked him today because it's just the second or third Saturday live that I'm doing. So I said, oh, honey, can you be on live on your YouTube channel? So I want to make sure that I can see the comments. So I don't need different monitors. I have to look away. So everything is on one screen. And he did. He was there. So, and now I know that he also actually listening. So, encouragement was the word that I was looking for. And so Anne encouraged me to write this book. And maybe we're going to do it next week. Now that I did that little teaser, and you will meet my hubby. And if it's not next week, then it will be sometime soon, I promise, because I don't want to make any promises without asking the most important person in my life if he had anything planned. But you see, it is live. And then we talk about that chapter because it's very hilarious. And talking about the language barrier that sometimes is there, looking for a specific word. And that's a very funny story. And we're going to discuss that. Wow, this is my time. I say I'm going to go live here for 30 minutes every Saturday, whenever I can. And here we are. We are at the end of the hour. Thanks for watching, and thanks for, if you watch this in a replay, please just put something in the comments so I know you're here, you are listening. And I'll see you next week, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, always remember, serve from the heart, follow your passion, and live the